Hello, welcome back to the EFL Extra Time podcast. I'm your host, Luke Wallace, and alongside me are Jack Cross.
Hi, Matt.
And Ollie Johnson.
How you doing?
Let's talk football then, boys, as per usual. First things first, St Andrews, Coventry City versus QPR, straight into it. Coventry, not the start they would have wanted. A defeat for them on the opening day. QPR are top of the table and on the telly. How do we see this one going?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Coventry being at home, they're wanting to get off to their first win as well. QPR obviously winning their first game, they'll be wanting to kick on from there, but it'll be interesting. That it can be tough to go away in Championship. I think obviously they'll be hoping to carry on their winning start, but I'm not sure how they'll do.
Yeah, first time being top of the table since August 2016. Is this a sign of more things to come, or are they going to fade away pretty quick?
I think they'll fade away in the end. I don't think they have the overall team to stay up there. But obviously, we said in the previous podcast that their attack doesn't look too bad when we actually looked at it. But I think in the end they won't have enough to push up where I imagine their aim will be.
Yeah, for Coventry then, only lost one league game at St Andrews since playing there, and haven't lost to QPR in all competitions since 2007-08. Do things like that give you momentum going into a game like this, or does it not really matter too much?
I mean, I don't think it really matters too much. I don't think they've played them that much, have they, recently? That's why the stats are far in the past. But yeah, obviously I don't think they can read too much into it. They'll just be trying to get their first win of the season at home.
All right then, boys, go on then. I want your predictions. Who's coming out on top in this one? Or is it going to be a draw?
I think QPR might end up nicking it, but I think it'll be a close game.
0-0 for me.
0-0. Ollie's going for some excitement on Sky on Friday night. Right, let's move on then to the City Ground. Nottingham Forest versus Cardiff. I mean, Forest have won 3 of their last 16 games in all competitions, bottled the playoffs. Are they heading towards trouble, do you think?
Well, like you said, I think there might be a bit of a hangover from a couple of months of going out in the way everything happened. Yeah, I think you've probably got a spot on there. I think losing Matty Cash probably wasn't ideal, even though they probably got decent money for him. But I think they might struggle defensively again. Like you said, 3 wins in 16. I think good enough for a team that were supposedly deserved the playoffs, as a lot of their fans said. So I don't. Yeah, I think they might be. I think they definitely will be amongst it by this time next year.
I'm sorry, but Forest fans are talking rubbish if they think they deserved a place in the playoffs. I mean, you get what you deserve over the course of 46 games in the Championship. You can't say, we were unlucky in one game. She had 45 other games to make up for it. So you can't say you deserved a place in the playoffs because at the end of the day, you weren't good enough.
Well, the performance on the final day completely sums that up, doesn't it? Let's be fair. Like, I'm not being funny. For a team that had been, let's face it, quite consistently good for most of last season until the wheels fell off. And
I mean, it dropped off after Christmas, didn't it, really? They were challenging top 3 until Christmas.
No, they were consistently good, and then they were thereabouts in the playoffs. They were 4th, 5th, and then they dropped down. And it was just like, how bad they were. Let's be fair. Final day of the season, they just needed to win, get points, something. And
they only needed 1 point from their last 2 games.
They didn't need any points, as long as they didn't get absolutely hammered. They couldn't even do that. They could have lost and still got the playoffs. But they decided, no, you know what? We'll lose in such a fashion that we'll just annoy everybody else. I don't know.
Yeah, for Cardiff, a losing start for them. Won 11 of their 14 games against Forest, though, since 2011. Do you think that will give them hope coming into this?
I don't know, really. I don't know. I don't know they were bad. I just thought they were bad the other day. It's not the same sort of team Neil Harris had last season when they got playoffs and they did so well towards the end. Like, I keep saying he did so well for them, but they just weren't good enough last week. And I think if they don't win this weekend, then they're very much in trouble.
Yeah, haven't lost their opening 2 league games since 1989-90, so it will be quite out of character for them. Go on then, boys, more predictions. 12:30 on the TV, Sky Sports Football. Who's coming out on top?
I'll go 1-0 Forest.
1-0 Forest. Interesting, Jack.
I'll go 1-0 Cardiff and see how they turn up.
I like it, going for something different. Right, Ewood Park then. Blackburn host Wycombe Wanderers. This is a must-win game for Blackburn if they want to challenge the top 6 this season, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they'll take a lot of confidence from their performance on the opening day at Bournemouth. And I think obviously they'll see Wycombe as a fairly easy game, but obviously no game's easy in the Championship, which they obviously know. But yeah, I think Wycombe as well, they'll be looking to get their first points on the board, but I think it might be a step too far for them at Blackburn.
Yeah, I mean, I said in the review last weekend that 71% of Wycombe's points came at home last season. Are you expecting them to struggle on the road?
Yeah, I think if that's their record, I think it only gets tougher when they move up a league. And I think obviously we know anyone can beat anyone in the Championship, but I think they'll struggle again away from home.
Go on then. Score predictions on this one. Quite a short chat for Blackburn and Wycombe fans. Sorry about that, but yeah, score predictions for this one.
I think Blackburn will win 2-0.
No, Wycombe 2-1 for me.
Oh, I like it. Back in the underdog. Up the chair, boys. Right. Then the first league game at the Brentford Community Stadium sees Brentford host Huddersfield. I mean, I know I'm one of Huddersfield's biggest critics, but I really think they're going to struggle this season.
Oh, I agree with you, yeah. And in all honesty, I think that's going to be another 0-0. I might say Brentford might nick it, but the way both teams are, like you spot on there, Huddersfield will struggle. Again, losing players, losing the Cowley brothers. Yeah, not a good season for them, I don't think. And even though now Brentford have lost Watkins, think Ben Ryan was going to go, I just think they didn't look the same team. Even though they did have a good win last night, I can't see it personally. I think it'll have to be a really good effort on them.
Yeah, but even though they did lose last weekend, it wasn't a bad performance from them. I still think there's a lot of hope for this Brentford side.
Oh no, I agree with you. I just think like I said, Birmingham would quite actually surprise me in how good they actually played. I think that's just a contrast of how bad they were last season. But it's the same sort of thing. You don't know how they're going to perform consistently, Brentford, over the course of 46 games. But I still don't think they're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, it's two sides that are coming into a new season without their top scorers. Ollie Watkins has departed from Brentford, and it does look like Karlan Grant's going to leave the John Smith Stadium. What is the key for these two sides to push on and avoid disappointment this season?
Sign in some good ones, whether they're loan players or short-term permanent ones. Just get somebody who can score some goals, get you up the table. Because let's be fair, they're both going to struggle without quality people up front.
Yeah. Go on then. Let's whack some score predictions on this one. Brentford versus Huddersfield.
I'll go 2-0 Brentford.
Yeah, I'll go 2-1 Brentford.
Oh, he thinks Huddersfield are gonna score. Ambitious from Jack. Right then, what was planned to be one of the EFL trial events, but has now been cancelled. At Kenilworth Road, Luton host Derby. Luton come into this off the back of a win against Barnsley. Derby coming in off the back of a defeat against a very classy Reading side, it has to be said. How do we see this one going?
I think obviously Luton have been very good since Nathan Jones came back into the job, and I think they'll take a lot of confidence getting that win. last week, and obviously Derby will be looking to bounce back after losing against your boys, like you say. But I think Derby might struggle going away to Luton. To be honest, I think Luton. I think while they've still got Nathan Jones in and the momentum they've got, I think they're just going to keep doing well. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, I mean, win against Reading in the Carabao Cup, win against Barnsley in the Championship, win against Norwich in the Carabao Cup, beat Blackburn on the last day last season, beat Hull and drew to QPR. They're in really, really good form in every game they play.
Yeah, and that, like we talk about winning mentality with some teams, and I think that's only going to help them going into each game. And I think if they've got the belief that they're just playing really well and they can just beat anyone, that's going to obviously help them. And I think they'll win this game.
For Derby, obviously we know they've been asset stripped a little bit. Is it important to bounce back in this game straight away?
Yeah, obviously they'll be wanting to get the season going as soon as they can, and I think a win there would give them confidence because obviously Luton's form. But yeah, I don't know if Rooney's going to play. I don't know what his influence is going to be like in this game. But yeah, like you say, losing to your best fullbacks isn't really the best start just before the start of your season.
Yeah. How do we see this one planning out then? The Hatters or the Rams?
I think Luton will win this one 2-1, I think.
Yeah, I can back that. Ollie, you in agreement with that one?
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing.
A good start to the Championship season for Luton then. Let's move on to the Riverside then. It will be, or is planning to be, one of the EFL trial events, but news coming out to say that Neil Warnock has tested positive for coronavirus. How much will that affect Middlesbrough coming into this?
Well, it ain't great, is it? Let's be honest. I don't think they played badly last weekend, but now being without the manager for 2 weeks, if he has to quarantine or do whatever with this COVID, no, it's not really ideal, is it, at all? For a team we hoped would push further up the table to what they were last season, because they were, in a relegation battle, and for a team like Middlesbrough probably shouldn't be. I do think it's maybe cost them in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, he's a huge presence on the touchline, isn't he? I remember one year at Reading, he was at Cardiff, and they were 2-0 down on about the hour mark, and he was going absolutely mad on the touchline and got himself sent off. And after that, the Cardiff players suddenly turned up and ended up drawing the game 2 each. I mean, the Warnock effect is real, isn't it? He really does have that difference when he's present at the game.
Oh, of course he does. He's done that at multiple clubs, probably throughout his career. So he's been a manager for 40 odd years now, and he's done that everywhere he's been. It's going to be a huge miss for the next few weeks. And I know it's early on in the season, there's a long way to go, but I do think it might cost them.
Yeah, I mean, can that be made up for the fact that they're going to have 1,000 fans in the ground for the first time in months to get behind their team?
It'll help, but it's still not ideal without the manager. I think it definitely will be a positive addition because obviously it's first game with the fans for a long time. So I don't know, mate. I just think he's just such a big presence not to be there with the fans or not.
Jack, what do you think? The fans coming back for Boro, is that an advantage for them?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's only 1,000, but I think it's obviously any fans in the ground is going to help. I think there's always an advantage if you've got the fans backing in the ground. Like if you go behind or something, it's obviously a big help when they get behind you. But yeah, it'd be strange for them still, even with just 1,000 fans in like a big ground.
Yeah. Will it disadvantage Bournemouth in any way, or do you think they'll take positives from the fact they won Jason Tyndall's first game in charge?
Yeah, I think they'll have positives from that first game, but I mean, I think the fact it's only 1,000 fans, I'm not sure it's difficult to say because there's obviously they have masks on and stuff. I mean, don't know how loud you can really make a noise with only 1,000 of you with masks on, but yeah, I don't think it'll affect them too much.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see for sure. Go on then, predictions for this game, Boro or Bournemouth? Who do you think's coming out on top in this one?
I think Bournemouth will win this 2-0.
2-0, quite comfortable then. Ollie, what do you think?
Yeah, I was going to say Bournemouth 2-0 as well.
Interesting, in agreement then. The next game, Carrow Road, Norwich play Preston. This is quite a big test for Preston, though, isn't it? The fact that they're playing a side that have come down from the Premier League and quite a good side too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Preston will be wanting to get some points on the board after losing to Swansea last week, but Norwich obviously getting that win at 10 minutes from time at Huddersfield will give them confidence to their first game back in the Championship, and they're going to want to have a positive start at home.
Yeah, for Norwich, obviously an appropriate test for them as well. Huddersfield, not that much of a test. How do we see them getting on?
Well, I think while they still aren't losing any more players, I think they'll be fairly solid and basically up there or thereabouts for the majority of the season.
Yeah, quite an even game. This one looks on paper then. How do we see it panning out? Again, I keep wording it the same way, but yeah. Norwich also having 1,000 fans. Will that make any difference?
Yeah, like we say, obviously it's better than having no fans in the ground, but it's still hard to say till we sort of see what it's like having the 1,000 fans in the ground. But I think Norwich will end up winning this game anyway.
Ollie, what do you reckon? Norwich or Preston for you?
Norwich. Yeah, I think probably would be a bit too much to handle for Preston. So yeah, Norwich probably 1 or 2-0.
All right, fair enough. Right, let's move on to the Medeski then. Reading versus Barnsley. Reading coming into this off the back of a league win. Played the under-23s in the Cup against Luton and went out. Barnsley coming into this off the back of a 2-0 win against Boro in the EFL Cup, but lost their league game. So contrasting fortunes. How do we see this one going? I'll try and stay impartial for now. I might give my opinion in a minute.
I was going to say, I'll bring you in because you probably had as good a start as you could have had, really, mate, last week with Reading. I think Barnsley still, have a lot to offer. So I think that could be a tough game for you. I mean, it's one of them where they don't want to be in the same position they were last year, but I still think you might be able to push a bit higher up. You might be a playoff contender maybe. Likewise, Barnsley don't want to be where they were last year, so they're going to be up for the fight.
Yeah, I mean, the playoffs would be nice. I think it's quite ambitious. We haven't actually made that many signings this summer. Still a long way to go. But I don't know, Barnsley are a tough test. I mean, a lot of people say they only stayed up on a technicality last season, but Gerhard Struber really turned the side around, really started getting them digging out results like you'd expect. They came here and lost at Medeski, I think, in the last game we had at home before lockdown. So we didn't play them that long ago. I don't know. Another 3 points is a big statement for us. 6 points from the opening 6 under a new manager.
Yeah, you'd be looking really good if you can get that.
I'd take anything but a defeat. If someone said, 1-0 or 2-0, I'd probably take it. Yeah, what do you two think?
I think it'd be a tough game, but I still think you might win. I think probably like a 2-win. So I just think Barnsley will be up for it. You want to get points on the door, really.
Jack, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think, like Ollie said, it's obviously going to be a tough game, but I think you'll still be fairly convincing. I think you'll get the win. I think you might get like a 3-1 or something.
well, I hope you're right. If the goals start flowing, we definitely are in a good place as a squad. Let's move on then. Rotherham host Millwall at the New York Stadium. Tough test for this one for Rotherham, isn't it? A Millwall side that Gary Rowett has got playing quite well.
Yeah, and Millwall will be looking to get their first win of the season, as Rotherham are looking to build on that win at Wickham. I think Millwall, like you said, Gary Rowett's got him playing quite well last season, and I think it was a fairly even game, like we'd expect last week when they played Stoke. But I think this game they'll be looking to go and win, and obviously Rotherham will put up a test for them, but I think Millwall might have just too much for them.
Yeah. I mean, for Rotherham though, does it send out any kind of statement they got that winner late on that they're keen to fight, or do you think it's just because it was Wickham and they're no disrespect to Wickham, but definitely a lower quality side than someone like Millwall?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're looking to win against the teams that are going to be in and around them, which we expect Wickham to be, but they've got to be looking to win their home games as well. But I think it's still just going to be, like I said, it's going to be a bit too tough for them. But I think they'll definitely win a few games that we don't expect at home this year.
Yeah, for Millwall, a point on the opening day, is that a good enough result? Do they really need to pick up 3 points here to get themselves into that top 6 this season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they would have been looking for 3 points at home on the opening day, but I think taking a point against Stoke, I think they would have took that before kick-off.
Yeah, definitely. Who are we backing for this one then?
I think Millwall will win this one, mate. 2-0 maybe.
All right, fair enough. Ollie, what do you think?
I'll go for a 1-1.
1-1. Cool. Ollie, you're going with some different predictions this week. I quite like it. Right, off to Hillsborough then. Two bigger names in the Championship, I guess, as Sheffield Wednesday host Watford. Watford off with that winning start. We know Vladimir Ivic has a brilliant record as a coach. Can he keep it going here?
Well, we said another team who have potentially managed to keep all the players. Troy Dean's potentially returning back to training, so whether he'll be involved on the weekend, we'll have to see. Yeah, I think another team we probably would think would be up towards the top end of the table by the end of the season, but likewise, Sheffield Wednesday had a good winning start as well, which is something I don't think we expected too much. So that could be quite a close game.
Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday with the shock win at the Cardiff City Stadium. Does that show they've turned a corner finally under Gary Monk again?
Well, it might just be the same story from last season. They were in this position where they were, probably playoff contenders up until Christmas, and then the wheels completely fell off in the new year. So that may happen again. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened again, but I don't know. It could be the same old story with Gary Monk,
Yeah, I mean, they only got past Warsaw in the cup. I don't know how much you can read into this because I can't see their starting 11 from that game, but only got past Warsaw in the cup on penalties. Does that show they could still slip into their old ways?
Well, definitely. It's pretty much the same team, minus 1 or 2. So, but I do think people. I think we talked about it the other day. People like Josh Windass is such a good player for them, and he could probably create a lot and score a lot of goals. Like he scored last weekend, so I think he could be a key player for them. And if he can find the form, he might be able to stop them from going into their old habits and maybe completely push them into a playoff spot again.
But go on then, who are we backing in this one?
Do you know what? I'll go Sheffield Wednesday 2-1.
He's going for it again, going back in the side I wasn't expecting. Jack, what do you reckon?
I think Watford. I think Sheffield Wednesday have the ability to win this game, but I think Watford might have just too much for them. 2-1.
I mean, if Sheffield Wednesday do win this game, they're back to minus 6 points already. It's a pretty big statement, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. And they're a team that have got to be up for it, haven't they? They've got to be up for it. So if they can win like most of their games, they can still finish top half in the playoffs.
Yeah, we did it. Oh, sorry, Ollie, go on.
That's right. It's a big aspect. If they can get to all level within a couple of weeks, then it's game on for them, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We did a sweepstake as a family, and I put Sheffield Wednesday to finish bottom. And to be honest, after the opening day, I'm already feeling not too confident with that prediction. Right, Ollie, let's talk about your side then. Birmingham at home. Obviously, you guys come into this on the back of a win, but so did Birmingham for the first time in a long time. So, is this a tough test for you?
Yeah, I didn't think it would be, but now on the basis of last weekend's performances, yeah, and I think that even though we played some good stuff, but we did play defensively, which isn't particularly like us. We did look like we would create stuff, but like Birmingham got a good win and played well, and that's the thing. If the team are going to be in good form, it's all well and good, like nicking a goal here and there, having a crap result, but they played well, and that's what's slightly concerning me now going into this game. But we're at home, back on our own ground, so hopefully that gives us some advantage, and hopefully we keep the same team. But yeah, I feel quietly confident, but it'll be a tough game, and Birmingham will definitely be up for it.
Yeah, Ita Karanka has quite good record of digging results out. Jack, can you see it doing it here?
Well, I mean, obviously, he's got the record being able to dig out results, and I think they'll have a lot of confidence beating Brentford on the first day. Obviously, it was a different Brentford side, but yeah, I think Swansea still the players that they have, the connections that Steve Cooper has with his winning side that he had in the World Cup with his under-17s. I think obviously he's got them playing well, and I think we're expecting Swansea to probably still win this game.
I mean, yeah, on paper I would look at it and think, oh yeah, that's a Swansea win, but I'm not convinced in the way you won at Preston. It just didn't look that characteristic. It almost looked like you'd run away, stolen it, really.
No, I know what you mean. You know, it was strange listening to it because we had our moments where we did play properly and like that passing football, but we're not a team that necessarily, you know, parks the bus or stays defensively. Which doesn't really I don't know if that's a new tactic we're going to use, and we're going to start using the wing backs a bit more. But I don't know, mate. You know, it depends. Maybe styles make matches, and that style might better Birmingham.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I think Birmingham were also quite lucky to come away with their win against Brentford. I mean, Brentford managed to hit the bar and had 2 golden opportunities to score, which they didn't take. Go on then. Let's hear your predictions for this one.
I reckon it'll be a 1-0 Swans.
1-0 Swans. Yeah, to be expected, really. Jack, what about you?
Yeah, I think Swansea will win 2-1. I think Birmingham will still nick a goal.
All right, fair enough. Back to normality if you're a Blue Nose. Right then, and to Sunday then, a 2:00 kickoff. But at the minute, I can't find that it's on the TV. But hey ho, there you go. Stoke host Bristol City at the Bet365 Stadium. Stoke got a point against Millwall, a side that they will be in and around come the end of the season, I expect. Are we expecting the same here from Bristol City?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Stoke getting that point at Millwall, I think they would have took that going away to the Den first game of the season, and obviously Bristol City have got a lot of confidence getting their opening day win, and they've been in decent form since the manager came in. I took over, should I say, and yeah, be an interesting game this one to see how they match up, and be interesting to see who comes out on top.
Just looking at Stoke's form this season, though, in all competitions, I mean, ahead of Wolves tonight in the EFL Cup, they drew 0-0 with Blackpool, they drew 0-0 with Millwall. I mean, if Wolves play a full-strength side, they might not even score tonight, so they could come into this game having not scored a goal yet in a competitive game this season. Will that have any kind of effect on the side?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there'll be it affects you if you haven't scored in a while, but I think obviously they'll be looking to go and score and get the win.
Yeah, in stark contrast, Bristol City have already scored 8 goals under their new manager. Obviously, Dean Holden now in full-time charge. What are we expecting from them in this game? Do you expect them to attack Stoke, or do you think they'll look to come away from a point? Because Stoke's a hard place to go.
Yeah, I think most teams that go to Stoke are sort of trying to hold on for a bit and then maybe nick a winner, because it's usually been known as a tough place to go. But yeah, I feel like Bristol City, I don't know why, after their early start last week on the opening day, I think they'll be looking to just go out there and try and score early and put some pressure on Stoke.
Yeah, go on then. Finally, for the weekend, then let's have your predictions for Stoke versus Bristol City.
I think Stoke win this one 1-0.
Ollie, what about you?
Sorry, Stoke 2-1. No, yeah, Stoke 2-1.
Stoke 2-1. Fair enough. Okay, that's it for the Championship this weekend. Quite an interesting weekend in prospect, especially for the second round of fixtures. Hopefully, Redmond and Swansea come away with 3 points. Then it'll be another cheerful episode rather than doom and gloom. Boys, thank you very much for joining me.
No worries.
Well.
We will be back with our League 1 and 2 preview, which you can probably find links. They'll probably go up at a very similar time. Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you later.